Welcome to part 2 of the school staff training on self-harm. The main focus on this presentation is on the practical steps school staff can use to support distressed students, particularly young people who self-harm. The aims of the training are to understand the link between emotional regulation and self-harm, and to provide practical support to distressed young people and those who make a disclosure of self-harm. We sometimes use the word emotional regulation to think about how children and young people manage their feelings. Emotional regulation refers to a person's ability to process and express their feelings in a constructive way. While a younger child is likely to have a tantrum if they don't get something they want, we would expect an older child or adult to express their disappointment and frustration differently. While they may try and get you to change your mind or look displeased, they are unlikely to drop to the floor, kicking their legs and screaming. Of course, we want young people to recognise their feelings, but not to be overwhelmed by them or to get stuck in them. To feel frustrated but not give up or lash out. To feel anxious but not stay at home. To be excited but not get so carried away they make poor decisions. We all have feelings and have mostly learned to manage them by the time we're adults. It is something we have learned, and this session will highlight some of the things that can help young people learn to understand and manage their feelings. A good way to describe emotional dysregulation in young people and how the feeling of an emotion can be overwhelming for them is to imagine someone knocking on your door to deliver a message. If the message is urgent, the knock is loud. If the message is very urgent, the knock is very loud. If it is very urgent and you don't answer the door, the knock grows louder and louder until you either open the door or it is broken down. Whichever, the emotion will continue to bang away until it is acknowledged. As soon as you open the door by listening to the message, the emotion can be dealt with and it will eventually disappear. Emotional regulation isn't something we are born with. It does come with time and needs to be learnt. There are 3 processes involved. Neurological maturation, which is the growth and development of the child's nervous system, which provides the hardwire required for controlling emotional reactions. This comes with time as the child grows older. Temperament and developmental status. Some children are more vulnerable to emotional dysregulation due to learning difficulties, language delays, attentional deficits, or maybe just because of their particular temperament. These children will find it harder to manage their emotions, and it will probably take more time. Parental socialization and environmental support. Every family is different. Some will openly mull over and explore their own feelings and those of other people, while in other families, feelings may be swept under the carpet or not talked about much. Parents who openly think about feelings with their children are likely to have children who more easily express their feelings in later life. Environment also plays an important role. Children who experience chronic stress or lack predictability and stability in their environment tend to have more problems with emotional regulation. Therefore, we cannot change a young person's neurological system or their temperament and developmental status, but we can help young people learn to manage their emotions through the third factor, socialization and support. Emotional regulation plays a central role surrounding the literature around self-harm. Young people who find it hard to regulate their emotions will naturally find a way to release these emotions. Self-harm is one of these unhealthy behaviours. Young people who self-harm often report they can cope with the physical pain of self-harm better than the emotional pain. Because of the links between emotional regulation and self-harm, treatments have been developed for this behaviour that explicitly focus on increasing emotional regulation. This slide shows how self-harm can begin in response to a range of different stresses for a young person. Young people can say really disturbing things in the moment when they're high in emotion. They may say really powerful statements like, "I hate my life," "I don't want to be here," "No one loves me." It's important to remember that this is what they are feeling in the moment and may not be how they are feeling about their life in general. Some school staff might find it difficult in knowing what to say when a young person says such strong emotive statements. The next few slides will concentrate on how you can respond to a young person in distress. It is common for adults to refute, question, persuade, or give advice when a young person is in the midst of an intense emotional experience. It is not usually helpful to ask why they are feeling that way or why they engaged in a certain behaviour. Often they won't know, or at least won't be able to analyse or access this information when they're in this highly emotional state. Similarly, it can be tempting to rush in and try to solve the problem or get rid of the emotion they are experiencing, especially if it is distressing for them. Our knee-jerk response is often, "Don't worry, it will all be okay, you'll be fine." But this can be perceived as minimizing and may exacerbate their distress. The good news is that there are simple things you can do and say that can really help. Creating space for their feelings and helping the young person to label their emotional experience can be validating and will help the young person feel heard and understood. This in turn helps to reduce the intensity of their emotional experience. Acknowledging emotions helps young people learn skills for soothing themselves. Validating the young person's feelings doesn't mean that you agree with them or would feel the same way in their situation. It just means you've heard and understood what they are saying. When the young person seems ready to talk, the acronym WINS, which stands for Wonder, Imagine, Notice, Sounds, can be a helpful tool as to how to approach these conversations. You can remind the young person that it is okay to feel several emotions at once. As you begin to identify their feelings and they share their story with you, reflect back what they are saying. Listen to their side and try to see the situation and emotions through their eyes. Show your understanding. You might say something like, "I can see that something has really upset you. I'm here to listen when you feel able to speak. But take your time, there is no rush." Try to take some deep breaths. Just focus on your breathing in and out. I'm right here with you. You are safe here. I'm here when you're ready to talk about what happened. The key thing to take away from this slide would be, don't give advice. Just listen. You will never make it worse by doing this. If you give advice the young person doesn't want, he or she will feel you don't understand them. When you jump to give advice too quickly, the young person may feel you just want to get rid of them. In a report by Young Minds and Cello, they found that teachers didn't feel they were equipped to approach self-harm with young people. School staff shouldn't feel responsible for sorting out all the problems for the young person. This may need more specialist help and time than you can provide. However, school staff do a huge amount of good work already in dealing with young people's mental health all the time. Most school staff do not feel equipped in dealing with a young person who makes a disclosure of self-harm. The first thing to do would be, don't panic. It is important to remember that if a young person tells you that they self-harm, it could be a sign that they trust you and are willing to share this very personal problem with you. Respond to this trust in a thoughtful way and reflective way. Actively listen, but also ask important questions in a gentle manner. Seek to understand the situation from their point of view in a non-judgmental, respectful, and empathic way. But also use this opportunity to have an understanding of the risk presented. Validate their feelings. Normalize them. Let them know it's okay to feel like this and it's completely understandable. Find a safe space. An important part of beginning to manage self-harm effectively is feeling heard and understood by another person. Don't tell them to stop. Don't expect them to be able to stop self-harming straight away or develop new coping strategies immediately. Make a plan. Make the first step to getting additional support for the young person, whether this be a referral to the school counsellor or specialist CAMS if concerns are high. But also make a plan to meet with that young person again, just for that extra support. Be honest about what you have been able to do and what you haven't, and why. If a young person is suicidal, follow your school's safeguarding procedures. Speak to a colleague. This may be your designated safeguarding lead or your mental health support lead. Be clear with the young person about why you are doing this. The next few slides look at different relaxation strategies you could introduce to the young person. Deep breathing is a good way to relax the body. By refocusing on the body and the physical feelings, it diverts the mind away from anxious or stressful thoughts and into the moment. When we get anxious and the fight, flight, freeze response is triggered, our breathing often becomes very fast and shallow. Learning how to slow our breathing down and ensure that we use all of our lung capacity can be a really helpful way of calming down and reducing feelings of anxiety and stress. It's really important that this skill is practiced when the person is calm and in a quiet place. When recommending this technique, remind the young person that it's not going to work first time and that they should give it time and practice. A link to breathing exercises is at the end of the presentation. Thank you. Muscles in different parts of the body can feel quite tense or sore when we are worried, upset, or angry. Our muscles can end up feeling this way, and it can be very uncomfortable. The good thing is that muscle relaxation is a way to relax the body and feelings. Muscle relaxation can be used to different muscles in the body by tensing them for 5 seconds and then relaxing. When tensing each muscle, study the tension and notice how different it feels when the muscle becomes relaxed. This technique can help the young person recognize how different the body feels when it is tense and when it is relaxed. If there is less time, the young person can pretend they have a whole lemon in each hand by squeezing really hard until all the juice is out. They should hold this for 10 seconds and then relax and let the lemon drop from the hand. The young person should be able to feel how much better their hand and arm feel when they are relaxed. Here are some other relaxation strategies to help a young person to calm down. There isn't one way of feeling, and therefore there isn't one way of coping. Here is a list of distraction techniques a young person can do. They need to find what works for them, and it needs to be a meaningful activity which is important to them. There are many apps young people can use to relax and meditate. There are also online counselling and digital mental health organisations which offer online chat support for young people. One is known as Couth, and we also have Off the Record, which provides online counselling. This image depicts the importance of ensuring you have taken care of your own needs before supporting others. This is particularly important when attending to students who are distressed or overwhelmed. If you are distracted, panicked, or already full up, you will not be able to act as an emotional container or supportive figure for young people. If you have any questions, there will be a live Q&A session. Please speak to your mental health lead, who will be able to provide you with planned dates and times.